we're going to start on your web pages, your websites today. So I've got the instructions for getting started posted to Schoology. With this video, I'm going to go ahead and go through those instructions and actually show you step by step through the video, getting things started and set up. So you may want to print out the instructions. You might want to pull up the video on your phone, and hopefully you have access to a computer where you can be doing things on your computer while you're watching the video or listening to it. If nothing else, you could be, flipping back and forth on a computer between the video and your web browser. But however you do it, I'm hoping that the video makes it easier for you to follow along and see exactly what you need to do, and we'll try to answer whatever questions you might come up with as you're going through. One other thing I want to mention is with the web browser, you do want to make sure that you are using either Firefox or Google Chrome. Either of those can be freely downloaded to any computer, Mac or PC. And WordPress, like Schoology and lots of other programs, doesn't work well on Internet Explorer. So if you try to get on Internet Explorer, when you're actually working on your site, you'll end up not being able to do some of the basic stuff because it doesn't work right on that particular web browser. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm on the first page of the Getting Started document that I posted to Schoology. So step one, you want to go to wordpress.com and click on Get It Started in the upper right hand corner here. And what they say about 36% of the internet, it's one of the reasons why I like using WordPress for this, is because it's free and WordPress has been around a long time. It's easy to access even if you're not on a great internet connection. So we'll go ahead and get started. And then we want to start off by creating an account. So if you already have one, you can go ahead and log in, but most of you will have to create a new one. And I'm actually going to create this as my 10-year-old. So let me see. So you could use your CSU email, but you don't have to. The important thing is you need to remember what email and username and password you come up with for this. Because the first thing people run into when they try to get back into WordPress is not remembering what username and password they used, or not remembering which email they used. And create my account. The two screenshots that I have under step 2 we're not seeing yet. So WordPress likes to change up their sign-on screens every 6 months or so, which always trips me up because then I have to update my instructions all the time. But basically, this is what you would see at the bottom of the first page of the instructions here. Actually, this isn't, because we're on the domain. So we're actually in step 3 because of how they've changed this around. So I'm on page 2, step 3. We need to come up with a domain. So this, we want to use some version of your name because the website you're making is going to be your profile, your professional profile. So the website's about you. So you want to make sure to use some variation of your name. You could try just your first name and last name. If you've got a fairly common first name and last name, you might have to throw in a middle initial or change up something else. For my own WordPress site, because my name is so common, variations on initials didn't help. I ended up having to put my last name first and then my first name. So I actually did Holmes Jonathan, which it's not going to let me do now because somebody else already has that. I think. I think it still says I have that. Yeah, so free. Oh, it changed it to Holly Jonathan. That's strange. Anyways, so you want to use some variation of your name. I'm doing this for my daughter, so try Matera, first name, last name, see if we can get it without an initial. So I would suggest you ignore this because this is going to try to get you into a free trial of a paid account. And for our purposes, for this assignment for class, everything I'm asking you to do is going to be free. So what you really want to do is go look at this free option here and see what URL it's giving you. Now notice at the top, I only typed in the name. I didn't add .com or anything else to it. So what it's done is no one else on WordPress has this URL. So it's giving it to me without any numbers in it, and it's saying it's free. So I'm going to select that in a moment. But if I had one that was already in use, let's see if it'll do something weird to this time. It adds in numbers. It actually changed it to John and threw an H in there, which I don't spell it that way anyways, but it throws in numbers. And so most of the time, if you type in your name and somebody already has an account, somebody with your name already has an account and a page, it'll just add in some numbers. You don't want to do that. You're going to be using this, potentially as a real website that you'll keep and that'll help you get employment, maybe even get into your career in the future. So you want to come up with something that is just based on your name.wordpress.com so that you don't have a bunch of random numbers in there that would make your website more difficult for somebody to find. So materahomes.wordpress.com, it throws in the .wordpress bit in order to keep it free, which is fine. Now notice here it's trying to get us to do a pay account again, but we're going to go with start with a free site. And it'll stay free. It just tells you that because WordPress likes to try to encourage you to purchase stuff. And then our site is created. It is started, and we could actually view it. It's set up as private at the moment, but it's here. So now if you're looking at the instruction sheet, we're on page 3, which is also step 4. So exploring the My Site menu. So this screen, let me click the little home thing so it takes you back to what you first see. This should be pretty much what you see when you first activate your site, right? Go through the same process I just went through. And this is your My Site menu over here. Because this is the first site I've created for this account, it just says My Site. If I was signed in as myself, there would be an S on the end because I have multiple sites. But it's My Site, and I've got a bunch of menu options over here. So if you're looking at step 4, you'll notice that one of the first things it says is that we want to confirm the email address. And at some point, it's going to make us do that before we can fully activate anything anyways. So I've got an email from WordPress that I'm going to go ahead and confirm. So again, you want to remember which email address you use to set up your WordPress account. Okay, and so it's taken us right back into our My Site menu, and now we have confirmed our email account. So it'll let us get things set up without giving us more issues. And it's going to give us some startup things to do here, a setup list. So the first one's going to be to give our site a name. So this is something on my instruction sheet it used to ask you to do before you even came up with the domain. And here you can change this. Let's see, descriptive name to let your visitors know what they're visiting. That's great. I'm going to get rid of that. So here you can change this. You can't change your domain name after you've created it, but you can change your site title. But since we're doing a professional profile, kind of personal site, I would still just do your name. But here I'm going to do first name, last name with the first letters capitalized, right? So that's different than how your name looks as part of your URL. It gives you an option for a tagline. You really don't need to mess with that. If you want to, you can, but you don't need to. And then if I scroll down here a little bit, I'm still in the kind of getting set up phase, and so the site hasn't been launched yet. So this would probably be a good time to go ahead and launch the site. Like I said, nobody will be able to do anything to see what you've done until you do. Okay, interesting. So now it is taking us back to the domain, right? To come up with the URL. And we've got this bottom option where it says, you know, the current free site address that we already created, skip purchase. So that's what we want to do. We want to keep it free, so we're going to skip purchase. And then here again, it's trying to encourage us to buy something, but we're going to keep it free. Okay, now it's telling us the site's launched. It's still saving give your site a name. I wonder if it didn't save it after I changed it before. So let me go ahead and do that again. And this time I'll save settings, return to checklist. Okay, and so it wants us to start with updating the home page. I'm not going to ask you to do that yet because that's not where we are in the getting started packet. But we can see what the home page looks like. It's already published, so if I made any changes to it, the blue button up here says update. So that would show me, or that would make whatever changes I make go live. And let's see what it gives me for the theme menu. I don't know if this is, if it was showing up like this for me before, or if it's just been since I launched the site, got everything activated. But now when I scroll down, it will get me to the search bar that I've used before. And actually, I think I had to click a More Themes button at the bottom before this came up. So I already have done that. So if you don't see this when you scroll down, click that More Themes, Show More Themes, whatever it says, and then this will come up. So this is really what I was looking for and what the instruction guide talks about for step 5. The screen it shows with the search bar and everything is right here. So right now, anything we do a search for could bring up all of the pages, but we want to keep it free. And if we just click free, it's only going to show us the free ones. And I haven't done a search yet, right? So right now it's just showing me the free themes. So to play around with the themes, you could scroll down here. You could click on a couple if you wanted to preview them. You can preview, or you can actually activate it. We haven't added any content to the site yet, so different themes might have some different default pages and things that come with them, but we're not going to lose anything. And even if we had added material, you still don't usually lose anything when you change your theme. So it's not like you're permanently locked into whatever theme you do go with. So now if you look at page 4 of the guide, this is following up on where we were just at the bottom of page 3. So we're in step 5, changing the theme. And I suggest to you that you type gateway into the search bar here. And that can be a good theme a kind of all-purpose theme to check out. So I've done Gateway. I can click on it. If I want to actually activate it and see what it looks like with my site, I can do that. If I click the Customize menu, it's going to put me in the Theme Customizer menu, which I don't actually want yet. So I'm going to back out of this. But if you want to see what the site looks like with that new theme, you can click the View button here, and this will show you. And you can actually visit the site. We've launched our site now. So if we say visit, this shows us what the site looks like on the internet. So this is what the site looks like with that Gateway theme and how the menu looks and everything. So this is different from Heaver, the theme that we started out with. Notice up at the top here, the URL is just the name.wordpress.com. So if I go back into my site menu, it's different, right? It's the URL that includes your My Site menu when you're actually making changes behind the scenes to your site. So the URL that I need you to turn in, what I need you to cut and paste into the discussion board by Friday at noon, is the one for your page itself. So if I go there and I go to visit, I can just go up to where it's got name.wordpress.com. I'm going to copy that and then switch over to Schoology. And then in Schoology, I want to get into our Schoology page and scroll down to post the URL for your website, due by Friday at noon. Or it says midnight, but I actually need it by noon to make sure I get attendance for everybody. And so here you can just paste that in and click post. So make sure that you paste that in there, post it, get that turned in by Friday morning at the latest. So now to go back to our WordPress site, notice when we're viewing the page and we're signed in, you'll have your My Site menu option right at the top. So you can click that and get back into your My Site menu. So the last thing I'm asking you to do as part of this first session, this just getting started, we're on to steps 6 and 7. So now we want to actually check out that theme customizer menu. So I'm going to scroll down. At the moment, my drop-down menus were already expanded. But if you first sign in and it's not, you're going to go to Design. And now we're going to go to Customize. So remember, I switched my theme to Gateway. And so we've got Gateway over here, and this is the Theme Customize menu. Now this is also for sort of big picture changes that affect the whole site, but it's more, sort of details about the site. Like you can change the fonts and font colors and menus and things. But these are all things that affect the entire site. So we'll do some stuff with homepage settings as part of the next session. But right now I just want you to sort of check this out, explore a little bit on what's available here. Step 7 is just to pick a theme and experiment around with it. So you could go and, get into your Customize menu and play around with the fonts, for instance. And so maybe I'll decide to make my theme or my headings different. I don't know what the default is for this theme, but let's see. Maybe this one. And then it changes my headings. Not just the title, but the headings, this heading font too. And I can actually change the size as well. So if your site, if the text itself is maybe a little bit smaller than you would like, if you've got a fonts customize option for your theme, you can change not just the type of theme, but you could also change the size too. So that font is actually a little bit bigger anyways, it looks like. So this is pretty good, but if I wanted to, I could still go make it a little bit bigger. And if I was really concerned about accessibility and trying to make it so everybody could read everything, that may not be a bad choice. And if I want to see what that looks like, I can save my changes, and that makes it take effect on the actual site. And then X out of here, and then view my site. Visit site. And so now this is what my actual website looks like. I'm on the website on the internet. And this is what those font choices look like. So this is a pretty good font size, I think. If I was going to have a lot of text, it may look kind of big, but at least for this theme with this kind of layout, these 3 columns, this is pretty nice. This would work pretty well. Now, depending on what theme you're playing around with, your customize menu is going to look different because different themes allow you to customize different things. So for Gateway, we've got these options, but for another theme, we would have different options, maybe fewer options. So you want to pay attention to what kind of options come with the theme that you're checking out, that you're experimenting with. You want to try to have as many options as possible so that if you want to change font colors and things, you can. And I actually think, if I'm remembering right, that's not an option for Gateway. So I'm going to close out of this, and just to wrap up our first session, I'm going to show you one other theme that I like that I'm currently using for some of my WordPress sites. I want to scroll down. Here we go. So it's not showing me the search bar. So I'm going to show all themes, and now I get my search bar. So the one I've been using for a lot of sites lately is Pen Scratch 2, which comes up right here. And this is a nice kind of all-purpose theme that I particularly like because it gives a lot of options for customization. So the customizer menu for this, notice that the theme's very different. The font here is huge, but I suspect that's because it was bringing over those settings that I used for the last theme. So if I want to get rid of those, this is what the theme, the default font looks like. And so for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and just keep that. I want to go back. So some of these are the same as what we had with Gateway, but some of them, if you actually click on them, it'll give you different options than what Gateway did. So to wrap up for today, just pick a couple of themes, play around with them a little bit, make some customizations, and then switch to another theme. You can choose whatever theme you want. You don't have to go with a particular theme, but as we get to adding content, it may turn out that you're going to want to change your theme because you might choose one that's really made for a business or a blog, and a different theme would work better for a profile site like what we're doing. But play around a little bit, pick one for now, and then our next video will pick up where we left off. We'll be at page 5 of the instruction sheet where it says continuing WordPress. So that's meant to be a second session, and we'll walk through page 5 through 10 and wrap up getting started with that video. Let me know if you have questions.